If you think making tender chicken just means cooking it longer or marinating it overnight, you have been missing the real method Chinese chefs have used for generations to turn even the toughest cut into something impossibly silky, juicy, and genuinely restaurant quality. Chinese kitchen cooks across Guangzhou, Sichuan, and Hong Kong have built their entire chicken technique around a complete system, not a single shortcut you can apply once and forget. Today, we are counting down 21 techniques that build toward that exact secret method. Stay until the end because number 1 ties every single piece together into one repeatable system that guarantees tender, juicy chicken every single time you cook it. Number 21. Choosing the right cut. Most people reach for chicken breast without a second thought, assuming leaner always means better for a quick stir-fry or fast weeknight dish. That assumption is the first mistake. Chicken thighs carry significantly more intramuscular fat threaded through the muscle than breast meat does, which keeps them moist and tender even when slightly overcooked in a hot wok. Choose boneless, skinless thigh meat cut into even pieces for any fast cooking method. If breast meat is your only option, treat every following step in this system as non-negotiable rather than optional. Chefs across Cantonese roast meat shops in Hong Kong have always reserved breast meat for slow poaching and thigh meat for any dish involving high heat or fast cooking. The difference shows immediately. Thigh meat cooked correctly comes out noticeably juicy, deeply flavored, and tender in a way breast meat simply cannot replicate under the same conditions. Number 20. Slicing against the grain. Most people slice chicken in whatever direction feels fastest, never stopping to check which way the muscle fibers actually run before the knife touches the meat. Place the chicken flat on the board. Look closely at the surface for the long parallel lines running through the flesh. Position your knife perpendicular to those lines and slice straight across into pieces about 1/4 inch thick. Cutting across shortens each individual myofibril strand within the muscle, producing pieces that feel tender and easy to chew instead of stringy and tough. Prep cooks across restaurant kitchens in Guangzhou treat this as the very first knife skill taught to anyone new, considering it more important than any marinade or seasoning that comes afterward. Every piece comes out noticeably easier to chew and far more pleasant in texture than chicken sliced carelessly in the wrong direction, no matter how good the marinade happens to be. Number 19. Slicing it thin and even. Most home cooks assume a longer marinade fixes everything, leaving chicken in sauce for hours while cutting pieces far too thick to ever absorb flavor properly. Marinade compounds and tenderizing agents only penetrate a few millimeters into raw chicken through diffusion, meaning thick pieces stay seasoned only on the outside no matter how long they sit in the bowl. Slice your chicken into pieces no thicker than 3 millimeters, roughly the width of 2 stacked coins, working consistently against the grain throughout every cut. Street food vendors across Chengdu slicing chicken for fast wok dishes have always prioritized thin, even pieces over long marination, knowing speed and tenderness both depend entirely on surface area rather than waiting time. Thinner pieces mean marinade reaches every fiber almost immediately, and what results is evenly seasoned, tender chicken in a fraction of the time thick cuts ever require. Number 18. The cold water rinse. Most people move raw chicken straight from the package into the marinade, never addressing what sits on the surface first. Place your sliced chicken in a colander and rinse under cold running water for 30 seconds, gently separating the pieces with your fingers as the water runs through every layer. Cold water slows the rate of osmosis between the meat's surface and the surrounding liquid, rinsing away blood and impurities without pulling out the chicken's own internal moisture in the process. Home cooks across Fujian province have rinsed sliced chicken under cold water before marinating for generations, treating it as a basic first step regardless of how clean the meat already appears to be. What remains is chicken that tastes noticeably cleaner and more neutral, ready to absorb whatever seasoning follows without any underlying metallic or gamey edge getting in the way. Number 17. Pat completely dry before anything. Most people move straight from rinsing into marinating, never stopping to fully dry the chicken in between the two steps, losing much of the benefit they just created. Lay your rinsed chicken flat across several layers of paper towel. Press down firmly and replace the towels once if they become saturated. Every piece should feel completely dry to the touch before continuing. Surface moisture increases hydrophobicity resistance against oil-based marinade compounds, effectively repelling sesame oil, Shaoxing wine, and cornstarch rather than allowing them to coat the meat properly. Restaurant prep cooks across Hong Kong always dry their meat thoroughly before any seasoning, treating this step as essential rather than optional, even during the busiest service hours of the day. The marinade that follows clings evenly and immediately, and the chicken that results absorbs flavor deeply, coming out richly seasoned all the way through rather than just on the surface. Number 16. The baking soda alkaline rub. Rub half a teaspoon of baking soda per pound directly and evenly into your sliced chicken using your fingers, working it carefully across every single piece to ensure nothing is missed. Home cooks across Guangdong province have used this alkaline method on chicken, destined for quick stir-fries for generations, treating it as the real starting point of the entire process rather than an optional extra step. The added alkalinity raises the surface pH of the meat, loosening the tightly bound protein structure on the outer layer of each fiber before any marinade or direct heat ever gets involved. Most people skip alkaline tenderizing entirely, relying only on marinating time to soften chicken that genuinely needs far more direct intervention than sauce alone can ever provide. Let it sit for exactly 15 minutes, then rinse thoroughly and pat dry before continuing. The chicken comes out noticeably softer and more pliable before cooking even begins. Stay with me because number 6 is coming up, and it is the single timing rule most home cooks break every single time chicken hits a hot pan. Number 15. The rinse-off timing rule. Most people either forget to rinse the baking soda entirely or leave it sitting on the chicken far longer than the method actually requires, damaging the texture in a way no marinade can fix. Chefs across Sichuan province treat the rinse timing as precise, watching the clock closely whenever baking soda touches chicken, destined for a fast stir-fry. If baking soda sits on chicken longer than 15 minutes, the rising alkalinity pushes denaturation too far, breaking down protein structure until the texture turns mushy and unpleasant rather than tender and silky. Set a timer for exactly 15 minutes from the moment the rub goes on. Rinse under cold running water for 30 seconds, then pat completely dry before continuing to the next step. Most people skip timing this step entirely, assuming more time automatically produces better results. It does not. Getting the window right leaves the chicken firm enough to hold its shape, while remaining remarkably tender the moment it hits the wok. Number 14. Egg white velveting. Most home cooks skip velveting entirely and stir-fry chicken directly, then wonder why it turns dry and chewy the moment it leaves the wok. Coat 200 grams of chicken in 1 egg white, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix thoroughly until every piece is evenly coated. Let it sit for 15 minutes before cooking. The egg white coating undergoes gentle coagulation the moment it briefly hits warm oil, forming a thin, protective layer around each piece before the chicken itself ever touches direct high heat. Cantonese restaurant chefs across Hong Kong rely on this exact technique for the silky, almost slippery texture found in nearly every classic stir-fry dish they serve night after night. Drop the coated chicken into oil, heated to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, then remove and set aside. The texture that follows is silky, tender, and noticeably more refined than anything uncoated ever achieves. Number 13. Cornstarch velveting alone. Most people assume velveting always requires egg white, never realizing a simpler, faster single-ingredient version exists for nights when time is genuinely short. Coat your chicken in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 teaspoon of neutral oil per 200 grams, tossing until every piece carries a light, even coating throughout without any clumping. The starch undergoes rapid surface gelation when it briefly meets hot oil, forming a thin barrier around the meat that holds moisture inside during the fast cooking that follows. Home cooks across Beijing preparing quick weeknight stir-fries reach for this lighter cornstarch-only method regularly, saving the egg white version specifically for dishes where a richer, silkier coating actually matters to the final result. This version takes under 1 minute and skips the resting time entirely. The chicken comes out tender, lightly coated, and noticeably cleaner in texture than the richer egg white version produces. Number 12. Shaoxing wine in the marinade. Most people treat Shaoxing wine in a marinade as optional flavoring, never realizing it actively works on the chicken's actual fiber structure at the same time it adds aroma. Mix 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine directly into your marinade alongside every other seasoning, coating the chicken thoroughly before it rests for the full 10 minutes. The wine's natural esters support gentle enzymatic activity within the marinade, helping loosen tightly bound muscle fibers far more effectively than a sauce made without any alcohol present. Households across Shaoxing, the city the wine is named for, have added it to chicken marinades for centuries, treating it as essential rather than an ingredient you can safely skip or substitute with something cheaper. Beyond aroma and flavor, this step quietly does real structural work on the meat throughout the resting period. The chicken that follows tastes cleaner, smells noticeably less gamey, and carries a tenderness that store-bought marinades rarely achieve on their own. Number 11. The oil seal step. Marinated chicken sitting in soy sauce, wine, and cornstarch develops a tacky surface coating that raises viscosity right before the wok, often causing pieces to clump together the moment they touch hot oil. Home cooks across Sichuan province always add this final oil coat before cooking, treating it as the last safeguard against clumping before the wok gets hot and things move quickly. Toss your marinated chicken in 1 additional tablespoon of neutral oil right before cooking, separating each piece carefully with your fingers until nothing sticks together. Most people drop marinated chicken straight from the bowl into the wok without this extra step, watching pieces fuse together and cook unevenly as a result. The oil coats each piece individually, keeping them perfectly separated throughout the entire cooking process. What hits the wok sears cleanly and evenly, coming out beautifully separated and uniformly cooked. Hit that subscribe button right now, because number 3 is coming up, and it is the step most people skip entirely right after the chicken leaves the pan. Number 10. The 10-minute rest before cooking. Most people marinate chicken and cook it immediately afterward, never giving the seasoning any real time to penetrate past the very surface layer of the meat. The proteins on the chicken's surface continue slow hydrolysis during this 10-minute window, breaking down slightly further and allowing marinade compounds to settle more deeply into the fibers than active mixing alone ever achieves. Home cooks across Guangzhou building stir-fry dishes for family dinners. Always build this short rest into their routine, never rushing straight from marinade bowl to wok, regardless of how tight the schedule feels. Once fully marinated and oiled, let the chicken rest at room temperature for exactly 10 minutes before it touches the wok. Set a timer so the rest actually happens. The chicken that follows tastes more deeply seasoned and noticeably more tender than chicken cooked the very moment marinating finishes, every single time. Number 9. The blanching shortcut. Most people assume blanching belongs only to vegetables, never once considering it as a genuinely useful preparation step for chicken going into a fast stir-fry. Briefly parboil your sliced chicken in lightly oiled water at a gentle simmer for 15 seconds only. Then remove it immediately and drain completely on a clean towel. The brief heat exposure triggers an early Maillard reaction on the surface while gently pre-cooking the outer layer, giving the final stir-fry a real head start before it ever reaches the wok. Home cooks across Fujian province preparing large batches of chicken for big family dinners have used this exact shortcut for generations, especially when cooking time runs genuinely short before guests arrive at the door. Most recipes skip this step entirely, relying on the wok alone to do all the work in one pass. The chicken that gets this treatment finishes its final sear noticeably faster, coming out tender and evenly cooked without drying out. Number 8. Hot wok, cold oil. Most people heat their oil first, then wonder why the chicken sticks and tears the instant it touches the pan surface. Heat your empty wok over high heat for 90 seconds until it lightly smokes. Add 2 tablespoons of cold oil. Swirl it immediately and confidently across the entire surface, then add your chicken right away. Heating bare metal before oil creates a thin vapor layer the instant chicken touches the surface through a shift in heat conduction at first contact, preventing sticking from happening at all. Cantonese stir-fry cooks across Guangdong province have always followed this exact sequence, treating it as the real secret behind a stir-fry that never sticks regardless of what protein goes in. The chicken sears instantly and releases cleanly every time, coming out beautifully golden with absolutely no tearing or sticking left behind. Number 7. Never overcrowding the wok. Most home cooks load an entire batch of chicken into the wok at once, assuming more pieces simply means faster cooking overall. It does the opposite. Cook your chicken in batches of no more than 250 grams at a time, leaving clear, visible space between each piece as it hits the oil. A crowded pan drops the surrounding temperature rapidly and replaces fast, dry convection heat with trapped, damp steam that cooks rather than sears the meat underneath. Restaurant kitchens across Hong Kong always work in small, controlled batches, regardless of how busy service gets, never overloading a single wok, no matter the pressure or the queue outside. Overcrowding is the single most common mistake home cooks make without ever identifying the actual reason their chicken turns out pale and soft. What comes from a properly spaced batch is golden, properly seared, and noticeably more flavorful. Number 6. The 45-second sear rule. Cantonese restaurant cooks across Hong Kong time each batch of chicken by feel, developed through years of repetition, but the underlying rule never changes regardless of how much experience the cook has. The rapid caramelization of surface proteins at high heat locks in moisture within the first 45 seconds of contact, after which prolonged heat begins pushing moisture out faster than it can be retained. Most people leave thin sliced chicken in the wok far too long, watching it turn gray and tough well past the point where it should have already left the pan entirely. Place your chicken in the hot wok in a single, even layer. Sear for exactly 45 seconds per side, moving it only once to flip using chopsticks or a wide, flat spatula. The chicken that results stays noticeably juicy and just barely pink at the very center, coming out golden and fragrant on the outside without any trace of dryness anywhere. Number 5. flipping only once. Most home cooks toss and stir chicken constantly the moment it hits the wok, assuming more movement automatically means more even cooking throughout the whole batch. Constant tossing disrupts the myosin proteins on the meat's surface, just as they begin to set, preventing the firm, seared crust that locks in juice from ever properly forming beneath the heat. Street food vendors. Across Chengdu, cooking thin-sliced chicken at high volume over roaring heat rely on a single flip every time, never stirring constantly the way many recipes incorrectly suggest is necessary. Place your chicken in a single layer with visible gaps between each piece. Let it sit completely undisturbed for 20 seconds, then flip each piece exactly once using chopsticks. The chicken comes out with a proper seared exterior and a noticeably juicier interior than anything constantly stirred in a hot wok ever achieves, no matter how skilled the cook. Drop a comment right now with which step in this system surprised you the most. We are almost at the top 2, and they tie everything together. Now, these last 3 are the most powerful steps in this entire system. If you remember nothing else from today, remember these. Number 4, pulling chicken before it looks done. Most home cooks leave chicken in the wok until it looks completely finished, not realizing the meat continues cooking for several seconds after the heat source is removed entirely. Pull your chicken from the wok when it still looks slightly underdone at the very center, roughly 10 seconds earlier than instinct and habit tell you it is time to stop. Heat continues moving through the meat through thermal inertia, even after direct contact with the pan ends, finishing the final stage of cooking gently and evenly rather than through aggressive, prolonged exposure. Home cooks across Beijing, preparing quick chicken stir-fries for weeknight family meals, always pull their chicken slightly early, trusting residual heat stored in the meat to complete the job cleanly. This single habit prevents the most common stir-fry mistake entirely. The chicken finishes perfectly off the heat, coming out juicy and tender rather than dry and overcooked on the plate. Number 3, the 5-minute rest after cooking. Most people plate cooked chicken the moment it leaves the wok, watching juices pool immediately and visibly onto the serving dish within seconds. Move the cooked chicken onto a clean plate away from any heat source. Leave it completely untouched for exactly 5 minutes before slicing, garnishing, or plating it any further. During the rest, juices pushed to the surface under high heat redistribute back through the meat via capillary action, settling evenly throughout rather than escaping the moment a knife or fork makes contact. Restaurant cooks across Hong Kong treat the rest as a genuine part of the cooking process itself, never rushing straight from wok to plate, regardless of how fast service moves around them. Skipping this single step sends moisture onto the plate rather than keeping it inside the meat where it belongs. The chicken that follows is noticeably juicier and more satisfying with every single bite. Number 2, the final slice check. Most people assume the cut against the grain made carefully before cooking is the only one that actually matters for achieving the right final texture. After the chicken has rested fully, look closely at the surface one more time under good light. Slice any larger pieces thinly across the grain exactly as you did before cooking began. High heat during the sear can cause muscle fiber realignment, subtly shifting how the original cut sits and allowing a few tough, stringy bites to slip through completely unnoticed. Chefs across Sichuan province always check grain direction a second time after cooking finishes, never assuming the original cut held perfectly through intense wok heat for the entire duration. This final check takes under 30 seconds and catches what no amount of marinating or velveting can fix after the fact. Every piece comes out tender, easy to chew, and completely consistent with no tough bites anywhere on the plate. Number 1, the complete chicken tenderness system, the most powerful Chinese chicken secret of all. Chefs across Guangzhou, Sichuan, and Hong Kong, 3 regions with entirely different cooking traditions, all build tender, juicy chicken the exact same underlying way. They never rely on a single technique alone. They follow a complete sequence, applied in the same order, every single time chicken leaves their kitchen, no matter what dish it is destined for. Most people pick one step from this list and assume it solves the whole problem. It never does on its own, and it never will. Here is the complete system. Start with the right cut. Sliced thin, against the grain with care. Rinse and pat completely dry before anything else touches it. Apply the baking soda rub and rinse it off precisely within the 15-minute window, never longer. Velvet in egg white and cornstarch, then add Shaoxing wine directly into the marinade alongside every other seasoning. Seal with 1 final tablespoon of oil and rest for 10 minutes at room temperature. Cook in a hot wok with cold oil, in batches no larger than 250 grams, searing 45 seconds per side and flipping only once. Pull the chicken before it looks fully done. Rest for 5 full minutes. Slice against the grain one final time before serving. The short acid contact from the Shaoxing wine earlier in the process significantly increases the bioavailability of the marinade's flavor compounds, meaning your finished dish absorbs far more seasoning than skipping any single step would ever allow. Cut, dry, baking soda, velvet, marinate, seal, sear, rest, slice again. Apply this sequence consistently, and the chicken that results comes out silky, juicy, and genuinely restaurant quality every single time you cook it. This is the system that changes everything. Bonus: the one-bowl prep method. Combine your sliced chicken, baking soda, Shaoxing wine, egg white, and cornstarch all into a single bowl rather than treating every individual step as a completely separate process requiring its own dish and its own timer. Mix in this exact order. Baking soda first, rinsed off carefully after exactly 15 minutes. Then, Shaoxing wine, egg white, and cornstarch added together in one combined motion. Let the whole mixture rest for 10 minutes in the same bowl before the final oil seal goes on right before cooking. Most people treat each tenderizing step as its own separate task, washing extra dishes and losing track of timing between every individual stage of preparation along the way. Home cooks across Sichuan province preparing chicken for busy weeknight dinners have combined these steps into one streamlined bowl for generations, saving real time without dropping a single technique from the sequence that matters. This one habit removes the biggest practical barrier between you and consistently tender, juicy chicken on any night of the week, no matter how busy things get. And that is exactly why we make these videos for you. If today's breakdown helped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another guide like this one. Every video we make is built around the same goal, giving you the kind of knowledge most people only pick up after years in a professional kitchen, broken down in a way you can actually use tonight. We have got more deep dives coming your way, from the hidden secrets of Chinese pork belly techniques to 31 clever wok hacks that will completely change how you cook at home, all designed to help you eat better and cook smarter every single day. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay sharp, stay juicy, and keep cooking with confidence. Drop a comment below with the one step from this system you are trying first. We read every single one. Let us see which one wins.